the actual Marcellus Shale.
With the Marcellus Shale development, Pennsylvania, Allegheny County, and Pittsburgh will benefit from jobs, revenues, while providing energy for our country and a clean, healthy environment.
I've been working for it for a year. I love my job. My job makes 6 figures. It's a blessing.
Currently, we're sending about $1.5 billion of our money every day to nations that hate us for their oil. This can all change.
So as far as I am concerned, it's drill, baby, drill.
I started flying about 3 years ago, and the development has just been exponential. Every year is just amazing. When I first started flying, I just started seeing one site here, one site there, and it didn't seem like a big deal. As soon as I started seeing some of this development being right next to people's homes, I mean within 250, 300 feet, that's when I really started taking notice. I mean, as I fly around Pittsburgh from Butler to Washington County to Greene County, I mean, these guys are setting up wherever the easiest places that they can do it, and normally it's right next to your home where everything's all cleared out and there's a pathway to get to the place.
I don't need that. I'm property owner.
Are you?
Yes.
All right.
I got a crew here. They're doing a documentary from another part of the world, Finland. How about that?
I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just abiding by.
Because I come up here a couple days a week, just to see what's going on. Okay, I'll tell them.
I mean, I'm just abiding by my. I mean, if someone higher up than me comes up and sees these people here, I'm the one that's gonna get.
But how come it's not in my contract then? I tell you what, you and your crew rattle them, because I always come up here and walk around. But when they see a camera, they tend to go shy. I wonder why that is.
That's the first well. That's the casing, down to 4,500 feet. Where our farm is, they envision 8 wells, and whether I get 8 wells is, you don't know. They might drill one and say, well, we'll be back in 10 years. But we're unitized with our neighbors, and what we're looking at is it's a product just like grain. It's another commodity. And they're doing horizontal now. They're headed in the northwest direction through our neighbors, and I think a little over 1,000 feet, or better.
But they are not fracking yet.
They're not fracking yet. They don't have the water here. They're just in the drilling process, and they're taking the tailings away. They're putting them in the dumpster boxes and hauling them away. So that's about all I know. I don't know much more, and I've been leaving them alone. That's a restricted area. Now they're pulling a rod up now. You can see them pulling one of these sections of pipe up now. And then what they do is they'll thread it into another pipe, and then it'll go down the hole, and then they'll grab another one. It's just a continuous process.
So how has it been for you now, living next to a big rig?
It's not that noisy, and my brother, of course, he lives closer. He lives right here. He says not as noisy as the smaller rig.
The artistic rendering of how that looks like is this. You have, the wells that are going in each direction, and they're collecting the gas out of this location.
So the line starts here on our farm right now, and it goes across our farm, my cousin's farm, our neighbors' farms, and keeps going to a compressor plant. And
How far is that from
the
here?
compressor plant's probably 2 miles from here, if that. So if the compressor plant's 2 miles from here, then they have a stripping plant that they're going to put somewhere just south of Butler, the city of Butler.
This is where we are, on top of a silo.
So that's what they're in the process of, fracking it, and they think that by the end of the year it's possible the well could be under production. We'll just cross our fingers, hope everything goes well.
What it was invented in Pennsylvania is the whole idea of being able to reuse this water. And that has a significant implication on natural gas industry anywhere else in the world. You know, anybody who's going to be doing hydraulic fracturing is going to look at us and say, well, these guys in Pennsylvania are recycling the water, therefore it's doable and they're making economics with it, even with the low gas prices. Why don't we do the same thing?
Well, we wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't profitable. That's the whole idea of being in business. But we're also environmental stewards and a model for the DEP and EPA. They've all been here. And that's the whole purpose of our treatment facility, is to recycle every bit of water that comes out of the ground and put it back into the ground. This flash mix tank starts the beginning of the treatment. Well, the biggest concern in shale dam, from just an economic standpoint, is to develop the market for the gas. My ideal as an American would be to have the gas replace the oil and free us from foreign oil. The only concern is that you need to have good surface management of the waters. In other words, when the water comes out of the ground from 8,000 feet down, it needs to be handled properly at the surface. This is actually our end product. As you can see, it's very, very clear. The only thing it has in it is the dissolved salts.
You wouldn't drink it?
No, you can't drink it because it just makes you throw up, because it's very, very salty, 10 to 12% salt.
When I saw how big this was, I had second thoughts, but I'd already signed the lease, and I can't, once you sign a legal document, there's no going back. I think this is going to be one of the richest states in the nation.
We was here for 18 years and I never had no problems until the gas companies come on. Then that's when I started having all these problems. All my calves that was born for 2008, I had 8 live ones, 10 dead ones. 4 of them was blind, stillborn, and 1 had a cleft palate for 2008. And that's when they drank that water when they drilled up here on the top field. This is the pond from 2007. The cattle was walking in this pond. The pond was good. This was before the gas company even come on the property. This one is 2008, and we had it fenced off. And there's what the water turned like. And there's the well, and it's all downhill right here. And it all run right into this pond. All them chemicals are heavy. They sink to the bottom.
Did you get the water tested?
They tested it in 2009, said the water is good. But they didn't. I asked for a soil sample. I said, test the soil on the bottom of the pond. DEP would not test it.
Why?
DEP said that pond is not for human consumption.
Not for human consumption?
Yes, and I told DEP that I sell my cattle every year to 84 auction for people to eat. I said, that is for human consumption.
What did they say for that?
Nothing. They wouldn't even reply to me after that. They just ignored me. Pictures of it. Here's what the eyes look like in them calves that died. This was a stillborn calf, dead when it was born, and that's what color they are. That color blue. And the gas company says there's nothing wrong with the waters.
We moved into this home in 2005. For the first 3 years of our life, we had a wonderful life, and then 3 years after we moved in, there was a compressor station that went into basically our backyard. It's on an adjoining property owner's land, 780 feet from our home. I said, this is what I consider my piece of Marcellus hell. I don't use the word shale, I use hell. In June of last year, there was actually a study conducted by the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection. One canister was placed in our backyard for 24 hours, and they found 16 chemicals in our backyard, 20 feet outside our door, some of which were benzene, styrene, toluene, hexane, heptane, acetone. There was literally a Molotov cocktail of chemicals in our backyard. Within a few short months of the compressor going online, we began experiencing headaches, sore throats, our noses, our nasal passages would burn. I particularly have had vertigo, was taken to the emergency room.
These were short-term studies. They were at any single site for maybe 4 days, 3 days. The equipment they used often was not capable of detecting pollution at levels that would be a threat in terms of long-term exposure. Sometimes the equipment wasn't sensitive enough to detect pollution at levels that would be a harm for a short period of exposure. So the study wasn't perfect in that regard.
We are a very depressed county economically. I see the good that it has done, but I also see the harm that it is doing. And they have to find a way to balance the two. You know, this is a battle that we're trying to fight now as groups that have gotten together as this does, as they have, or as, you know, myself as an individual. It's exhausting. It is really exhausting. And I would hope that our elected officials would step up and start helping us instead of this being a fight that sometimes you feel as if you can't win.
I'm going and documenting some stuff for our new Faces of Fracking campaign with Kim. I'm going to her house right now.
Yes, we're moving because of the water. Oh, look at that. You can see the brown coming out of it.
Today is March 1st, 2012.
What is in that bottle, right? Even if it's just sediment.
What is going?
How could you expect people to drink dirt?
I honestly feel like a refugee. Like, I'm an American, and my human rights are being violated every day because my government is allowing corporations, industry to dictate what I do on a daily basis.
We're going to cross over in front of the mini mart, and we're going to let Rex know that we're here.
Absolutely.
What
has happened over the last 3 years in Pennsylvania and prior in places like New York and now in Ohio is there is a groundswell of fractivists.
They destroy people's water, and then they say they're going to be good neighbors, so they give them water and then they take it away.
Clean water now! Clean water now! Clean water now!
There's lots of people who are very critical and very angry also about what's happening with this drilling here. Do you have any greetings, or what would you
Well,
say?
if it's environmental, I see their concerns. Monetarily wise, if they're, I hope it's not jealousy. I think money generated from here is going to help everybody in the community. And like hopefully with these well drilling that they follow the laws and the environmentalists determine what we need to do.
We've got one chance to do it right, and it's right now. And all stakeholders have a place in this argument, in this this quest to figure out what the facts are and the ways to do it right. Industry doesn't have all of the answers. The environmentalist groups don't have all the answers. Clearly, we've got to work together and find out what those answers are.
I don't believe I've ever seen a problem as widespread as this with as little information collected about it and as lax an attitude in terms of the sense of urgency and the sense of responsibility on the part of the state, the federal government, and by that, for that, all that matter, the drilling industry.